All right, good to go on my end, brother.
In that case, welcome to Phone Wallet Keys, David Ortiz, episode 17. On the eve of the AFC Championship, the eighth in a row for the Patriots. Hi, Max. Good morning.
It's not the eve, it's Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean,
Wake up! I know it's early in the morning, but come on. Don't sleep on me.
I'm here. I'm just trying to determine
Formulate
whether or not eve can be applied in the case of the week leading up to a football game or not, but it's really neither here nor there.
No, it's not.
Cross me up! Don't snap, don't breathe, just to leave me up this skin. And baby begin.
I don't want to talk about the Celtics at all. They suck.
They suck and I'm mad at you.
I'm mad at you. You were fucking standing for Terry Rozier for 1 week too long. And you finally fully crapped the fucking bed.
That's where you're at?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's pretty bleak, Sam. I think we should just, instead of blaming the players, which we have no control over, we should blame our brothers, whose behavior could be improved. Like, are you sure there's nothing you could do to make the Celtics better? May I suggest you order a Boston Celtics custom jersey with a number 48 on it and the back that says Palestine? Because every time I do that with other Boston sports teams, they win a lot of games. I just got a Patriots jersey like that. And in 2011, right before the Bruins playoff run started, I got a hockey jersey that said Palestine 48, and they won the Stanley Cup. So, ipso facto, hitherto and therefore, I think the problem probably rests somewhere with your lack of really cool political Boston sports gear. But that's just me, you know what I mean? Like, that is one place that we could focus our energy. You also could just shit on Terry Rozier, which has nothing to do with, like, that's not something you can control.
One thing that I can control, that I will now exert control over, is this podcast, and we will proceed to talk about the Patriots.
Wow, brother, that was a fucking sick transition. It's so nice to talk to you in the morning. Oh my God. Have you had coffee yet?
I'm drinking a little cold coffee from yesterday. I didn't really have it in me to
Like, wake up and get your day started correctly?
Yeah, so I'm just drinking a little cold coffee from yesterday just to get a little jolt, and then after we finish recording, I'm gonna make some breakfast and brew some new coffee.
Well, so far, your behavior in this podcast has been lackluster, and I blame the cold coffee.
Me too. Looking forward, though, I think we're gonna have a really, really strong episode coming up.
Who did you watch the Patriots game with?
I busted back the old crew of the Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl and that whole run, and that was with Adam, Jeremy Buttman, and Eric.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice bunch of guys.
Yeah, and we have a pretty good track record of watching games together. The like karmic thing that always happens in football that is so fucked up is that you get a good crew together and you watch the playoff run, and then the Super Bowl comes around and all these fucking randos come out from the woodwork being like, the Super Bowl, yeah, what are you guys doing? Love to come watch with you. And then all of a sudden you're surrounded by people who
don't care.
Just don't even, it's like they don't care and you don't know them. They haven't been vetted or tested. And that happened to us last year. Like we had been all together watching the playoff run, and then the group expanded like 3 times the size, and just like people were not even really, it's like, it sucked.
Yeah, but if memory serves, right, like in 2014 when I was living in the city, and the Patriots won the Super Bowl. Like, we've been watching the games with with that crew of Boston kids for the whole run, and then when the Super Bowl came around, we went to like Adam's recording studio, and a bunch of
Yeah.
other people showed up, and they just sort of like sat by and watched as we like experienced the full range of human emotions.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's not.
I mean,
an
I
exact
just
science.
mean to say that you're
particular
right,
Group
that
of people
it
that
does
gathered
happen.
that day. Yeah.
But like, I literally don't remember the names or faces of anyone in that room who I don't know. It's not like I bonded or interacted.
No, they were there to bear witness, I think.
But yeah, I mean, you're talking to someone who's watched the last two Patriots Super Bowls by himself on his computer, because I would rather just like sit by myself and stress out than I would like be in a Super Bowl party, because like
Yeah.
I'm not trying to reveal the football fan side of me to friends also, like, or people I don't know that well. And also it's like hard to like be your true self and experience the range of emotions like existential dread, fear, sadness, etc. Like amongst other people who are like, wait, but you know this doesn't matter, right? And it's like, yeah, but I'm trying to foment like the overthrow of the US government here, people. Like, don't, this isn't like a small deal.
That's not where I thought you were going to go with this, but I like that you've really firmly established that as a justification for an otherwise unjustifiable, intensity as a sports fan.
Also, it's just so fucked up, Sam. Football's so fucked.
What do you mean? What on earth are you talking about?
I mean, like, again, let's just like
Let's do a brief recap.
a brief recap of how problematic football is. Would that be?
Before we get into the details of this game coming up on Sunday that I'm so fucking excited for.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it too. I
Yeah,
just
sure,
don't
hit me.
think we should let ourselves or let our listeners forget like that we actually believe that we are bad people for liking football, because it's
so-
unjustifiable.
I'm going to give you 5 right now off the bat. Let's hear it.
I mean, why don't you do it, Sam? You've heard this rant enough times.
It's hard for me to be in touch with it right now. I'm really just I'm thinking about the X's and O's.
Okay.
See, like I thought that we were gonna lose on Sunday because of our owner's support of Zionism, but now the fact that we like won so badly, does that mean that like the Israeli project of just like keeping an entire big portion of its population in prison-like conditions and treating them like second-class citizens is good for football karma?
I mean, clearly, if there was, like, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, the idea that arch Zionist Bob Kraft isn't getting his cosmic comeuppance in the form of football losses means that, like, we as people can't just sit around and passively wait for the world to improve like we passively watch a football game. We have to get out there and organize, because God isn't going to care that Bob Kraft is a racist who uses his billions of dollars to inflict racism upon people. Like, the only caring is going to come from people like you and me, because clearly our fellow Patriots fans don't care. So I'm just looking for where the caring is going to come from, and it starts with me, Sam, and it starts with you.
I mean, what does the caring do for anything if we're still gonna be watching the game on Sunday?
Well,
making a podcast about it.
Look, I mean, I think you're really close here, Sam, to a major breakthrough. I think, Sam, that you, and by you I mean me, I should just admit that I have chosen an irrational sentimental loyalty to the New England Patriots over the cause that I have made central to my adult life.
And how does that make you feel?
Really bad. Terrible. How does it make you feel when I say it out loud like that?
I mean, it just makes me feel like I wish that we could just like fucking hurry up and win this last Super Bowl, and then everyone just retires, and then we could just go on with our lives without football in it.
Yeah, I think Scott Yanko was saying this on when we called him the other day. Like, he admitted to us that he was not a strong enough person to like leave Tom Brady when he's still playing, but he knows it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, we were all talking about it watching the game last Sunday too. I mean, that game last Sunday was so strange. It was over so quickly. We just like that we had a lot of time to like the game just seemed to last forever because it was over in the first 8 minutes, and then we just had a lot of time to sort of like sit with it, and we were all just being like, how sick would that be if we just won it this year and everyone retired? Like Belichick, Brady, Gronk, Edelman. And everyone was just like, that would be so sick. I would love that so much.
Yeah, I think if Belichick, Brady, Edelman, and Gronk all retired, it would be great.
As Super Bowl champions this year?
It would be. We could just stop watching football and focus on overthrowing the U.S. government.
Yeah. But in order for that to happen, we're going to need to beat the Chiefs this Sunday. A really, really, really good Chiefs team in Kansas City. And
do you think we can do it?
I'm on the fence here.
So I was on the fence about the Chargers, right? Because like the Chargers seemed like they were better than the Chiefs. They had a stacked roster.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yes, they were a West Coast team coming to play in the freezing Northeast, going across the country, and 3 hours earlier for the second straight week. But I was scared. I was a lot less confident than you were.
Yeah, I felt very confident that we were gonna win that game. Not in the manner that we did, but still win it. I think home field advantage is just so important in football. I mean, it's interesting that it wasn't that important the week before, right? The Chargers went into Baltimore and won, and the Colts went into Houston and won. Philly went into Chicago and won. So in the wild card round, three road teams won. But last week all the home teams won. And I'm thinking about like, I think home field advantage really the big, like what it comes down to in football and why it matters so much is it helps the pass rush. It helps the home team's pass rush because the crowd is really loud, and when the away team is on offense, they can't really communicate that effectively, and they have to go to silent snap counts, and it just gets a little screwy, and it gives an advantage to the pass rush, which can really disrupt a game. And that's my biggest fear for this game on Sunday. It's not that Patrick Mahomes is going to blow us out and drop 50 points on us. I don't think that's going to happen. The only scenario I see in us losing is something along the lines of their pass rush, because of their home field advantage, is incredibly disruptive to Brady, and Mahomes gets, like, the Chiefs offense get out to, like, score. If it's like 14-3 at the end of the first quarter, Chiefs, then we're in trouble, because then I think our biggest advantage going in is going to be our running game, our ability to keep the Chiefs on the sideline. I mean, keep the Chiefs offense on the sideline and have long extended drives. Their run defense is really bad. Our running game is looking really good. And I think if you flip that, if somehow we can get out to a 14-3 lead, I think we've got the game in the bag. I think we can control the clock. And
here's the thing about a lead against the Chiefs, right? They can
make it disappear really fast.
Really fast.
Like Peyton Manning's old Colts teams could do too.
Yeah.
That's true, but I just mean a lead, or at least a really close game, will allow us to execute a game plan that will work to our advantage. which is it's going to tire out their defensive front, so that in the fourth quarter, like let's say we get out to let's say it's 14-10 Patriots at the end of the first quarter, and we're running, so it's not a safe lead, but if we can have long drives and keep the Chiefs offense off the field and more importantly their pass rushing defense on the field, then they're going to be gassed by the fourth quarter when there's 3 minutes left and we're down 4 maybe, and we need to like one more drive. Like Brady will have enough time to make a game-winning drive. There's a really high probability that this game comes down to who can make a game-winning drive in the last 5 minutes of the game. And I think in order to set up favorable conditions for that game-winning drive, we need to have the ball a lot for the first 3 quarters, and you do that with a running game.
Yeah, something about the game was I mean, like that was what was when we got the opening kickoff, when we elected to receive, I was surprised. And then we held the ball for the first 8 minutes. We just like methodically marched down the field. And then our subsequent drives, we stopped doing that because we're like, oh, they're actually just going to play like a disrespectful zone against us this entire
soft
game.
Cover 3, yeah.
We don't need to hold the ball. We're just going to score every time.
I really don't think enough attention has been paid to that remarkable decision to choose to receive the ball. Something that I truly can't remember the last time we've done that. The Patriots, in one of the countless examples, like have set a trend going against the grain, where thinking it's better to kick off if you win the coin toss. Like before the Patriots, everyone just chose to receive. And then the Patriots, for a decade, always chose to kick. And it was this brilliant move because we would set up the game so that we could play to score twice in a row if we can, because our 2-minute offense was so good at the end of the first half. And all of a sudden we just bucked that trend. I don't remember when we did that last. Do you? When
no,
have
not
we
really.
ever chosen to receive? That was a crazy move. I could not believe that. I was like, what?
But then we held the ball for 8 minutes. We had an extra long drive. It was great.
Remarkable.
But none of our subsequent drives were anywhere near that long because we just stopped thinking we needed it. We also, on the first drive, had like screen passes to Sony Michel, which we were like, oh, we don't actually have to do this anymore. Like Gronk got targeted and looked great when he did, but he only got targeted once. Because they're like, oh,
twice,
we actually don't need this right now. So I'm excited to see, like, is on the road in Kansas City in 0-degree weather in the middle of the night the time to bust out all of our exciting razzle-dazzle plays?
I mean, yeah, I have no idea. That's wild to me that's going to be the conditions of the game. And it's so true that midway through the first quarter, Belichick just looked at Josh McDaniels and said, show them nothing. We show them nothing today.
We got this. We got this.
We don't need any tricks. We don't want to give any strategy away for the rest of this playoff run, however long it lasts. And that's bodes well. That's exciting to see what we have. But man, I know Brady takes really good care of himself, but he really is 41, and Patrick Mahomes is, what, 24?
Yeah, 23.
23. And I really feel like
Maybe he's 24.
No matter what, there's going to be a big difference to how those bodies respond to a 0-degree in the middle of the night.
Also,
situation.
Patrick Mahomes is an incredible athlete.
Yeah.
He's so fast. He can do incredible things with his body, things I've never really seen before.
Yeah. Right. He's like this weird hybrid quarterback shortstop.
With a rocket ninja arm. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah. I think no one's ever done no-look passes in the NFL before, and he's like can kind of like somehow has started to do that every week. He'll like be looking left and throw right, and he'll like throw these weird sidearm or underarm throws. He's remarkable. And he's extremely mobile, which is something that
we're not
had
going to be able to play
problems with.
defense the same way against Philip Rivers as we did against him.
Right.
But
So which
I
means
mean,
a
we
lot. I think
could.
we're gonna bring
What's
a lot less
interesting to
pressure.
me is that the Chargers went in and beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead at the end of the season, and
Yeah.
we have the same. Like the Chargers did so with like 6 DBs.
Is that what they did?
Yeah, and the Patriots have 6 DBs that they can play that are really good, right? They have this
That's
Jackson
true. We have 1,
kid.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
They have the 2 McCourtys. They have Harmon. They have Chung. And they have Gilmore.
Gilmore, all pro Gilmore. Yeah.
So that's interesting, right?
Right, and it's also so Tyreek Hill, their extremely fast wide receiver, who burned us in
3
in our
touchdowns
earlier
against
matchup this
us.
season. He was incredible, and no one could stop him. But really, they were just throwing the McCourtys at him, and the McCourtys are they're like not young enough and not fast enough to stay with him. But you know who is young and fast enough to stay with him? Undrafted rookie cornerback J.C. Jackson.
I mean,
I think this is what we do.
that scares
go,
the
JC
shit out of me.
What? It scares the shit out of you?
Yeah.
Yeah, for good reason. But what we're gonna do is the classic like thing that we used to do with Darrell Revis is we're gonna put Stephon Gilmore on Sammy Watkins, single coverage, shut him down. That'll be the end of
That'll
Sammy
be
Watkins.
that. Yeah, I don't believe in
And
Sammy
then-
Watkins.
I don't either. And then especially with Gilmore on him, and then that'll allow J.C. Jackson to match up with Tyreek Hill with safety, with double team safety coverage behind him.
Well, what do
And
you
then
do
we'll
about
put-
Travis Kelce, Sam?
You put Chung on Travis Kelce.
Okay, but I think you might need to double. I think you're right that we can, if we double with our 6 DBs, if 5 of them are assigned to 3 of their players, that's trouble.
Well, so the other option would be to put Jason McCourty on Sammy Watkins. Like Sammy Watkins, he had a kind of a good game, I guess, last week against the Colts, but he was hurt. He's never really scared me. He's kind of like, I don't know. I know he's capable of being a really good wide receiver, a really good player, but there's something about him that just inspires zero fear in me. So maybe you put Jason McCourty on Sammy Watkins, and Gilmore, you match up against the bigger Travis Kelce, which Gilmore is capable of playing bigger. And then you put J.C. Jackson with the safety help on Tyreek Hill. Look,
It's going to be really hard.
Did you notice?
Landon Roberts, in my opinion, is going to have a huge, huge game. We need our linebacking core that's good at tackling to not miss any tackles, to
Yes.
shut down their run game.
Did you notice speaking of linebackers, did you notice a Patriots player who had their best game of the season last week in the playoffs?
Do you want me to say Dante Hightower?
Yeah, that's who I was looking for. Dante Hightower with the best game that he's had all season long, and he's played all season long. And that's because he is a championship player and he knows how to bust it out when it really matters, when the whole game's on the line. You can Dante Hightower is maybe lost a step, and I don't know that we have we don't really have any fast linebackers, but I feel really confident about Dante Hightower being a QB spy and making a big play in this game at some point and continuing the trend of playing his best football when it matters most.
Well, Landon Roberts is fast. That's why I was saying we need, but he's not good in pass coverage.
He's a run stuffer. He's not gonna be great. I don't like him chasing. I mean, I feel good about our linebackers. I feel good about Kyle Van Noy and Dante Hightower, and Landon Roberts is third. You know who I also feel really good about? Trey Flowers.
Yeah, Trey Flowers played great.
He had a great game. I don't know. I feel like we have a good chance. I'm not going to say that we are going to go into Kansas City and dominate that game in any way. I think it's going to be really close, and I think it's going to be a toss-up. There are a few different scenarios. Like one scenario that I just have to admit is that we go in there
And they fuck us up.
and they fuck us up. They just they drop 40 points, and because Patrick Mahomes is
The next great quarterback in the...
yeah, he just had a season that rivals the best statistical season of any quarterback ever. I mean, he's joined Peyton Manning and Tom Brady as the only quarterback to throw 50 touchdowns in a season, right?
Yeah, but he's a fucking kid.
But he's like unbelievably good.
Yeah, that's what I'm
And-
saying. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
It's crazy. But there are other scenarios in which
Bill Belichick gets the best of Andy Reid. Yeah, I can see that.
right. Or the worst running defense in the league gets just like run on all day long. And
But that had to have been the Colts' plan, right? I can't just be that only the Patriots make their game plan to, like, based on the weaknesses of the other team, right? Like, that can't just be like, I know it's not. So the Colts had to have had this idea of running the ball, and we're just unable to do so. And what if that happens to us?
the thing is that the Colts were down 14-0 in the first quarter. And so your game plan of running and controlling the clock really like is bad if you're down 14-0 in the first quarter. The Colts, the problem was that the Chiefs pass rush in Arrowhead was just destroying Andrew Luck, and the Colts defense didn't stand a chance against them. So, I mean, the thing is about football, games get away from you fast, and when they do, you need to really change and adapt on the fly, and it's just possible that they weren't able to do that, but that we will be able to, or it's possible that we won't. I mean, I don't know. The Colts, like, what they scored, their only touchdown came on a blocked punt. Is that right?
Yes. The Colts sucked. They suck.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can imagine us winning, but it's going to be tough. It would take one of the all-time great Brady victories.
Mm.
But if he has the ball late, and I believe that he can provide us with whatever it is we need.
Yeah.
If it's a close game.
Me too. I think, yeah, the Chiefs are going to play a lot more man coverage. So I think expect that to me, that means less James White, more Rob Gronkowski. So and whether or not Rob still has, a vintage performance in him, I think will be a huge factor in determining this game.
Well, for our listeners, why don't you just share with them how Gronk played the last time we played the Chiefs this year? The first time. Because if memory serves, that was the best game.
Yeah, he outplayed Travis Kelce. He was the best. He was the best tight end. After that game, we were like, Gronk is the best tight end in the game still.
And he didn't really play any more games like that since. He played great against Miami. But he had maybe 2 really good games this year receiving-wise, out of 16. But then I really do feel like that he fundamentally changed the game against the Chargers with his blocking. But I would like...
Oh, I totally agree. He was unbelievable.
But go ahead, share the stats from the first game.
In the first matchup of the year between the Chiefs and the Patriots, it was in New England. The Patriots won 43-40. Sony Michel had 100 yards rushing, 106. That bodes well. Rob Gronkowski had only 3 catches for 97 yards, averaging 30 yards a catch or more. Longest was a 42-yard bomb. He was only targeted 4 times, and that's interesting. But he really, on the other side of the ball.
But when we needed him on the game-winning drive,
of course, he was right there. Yeah, and Travis Kelce had five catches for 60 yards, targeted 9 times. So Gronk definitely outplayed his all-star tight end counterpart.
And in the crunch time drive, it was Gronk. We just went to Gronk repeatedly.
I think that's right. Yeah. Tyreek Hill.
How did the receivers do for the Patriots that game? Was Josh Gordon a factor?
Josh Gordon had 5 catches for 40 yards. He caught it 5 times, was targeted 9 times. He was the most targeted receiver. Edelman had 4 catches for 50 yards. It was kind of a weird game. I mean, we scored 43 points without having a 100-yard receiver. Julian Edelman caught a touchdown pass. He was the only one. James White caught five passes for 50 yards. Josh Gordon 5 for 40. Chris Hogan 4 for 80. Chris Hogan had a good game. On the other end of the ball, this is interesting. So Tyreek Hill, as previously discussed, caught 7 passes for 140 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, he was unbelievably good. But again, it was Jason and Devin McCourty who were D'ing him up, and those guys will not be playing him this Sunday with any luck. The next best player for the Kansas City Chiefs was Kareem Hunt. He caught 5 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown, and he also ran for 80 yards on 10 carries. Great game for Kareem Hunt. He won't be there on Sunday, though. Is he injured?
No, he was released because he engaged in a domestic violence act.
Yeah, engaged in a domestic violence act is
a
an
woman
interesting
on
way
camera.
to say that he kicked a woman while she was down on camera. He
that
threw
was,
a woman on the ground and kicked her. So
it's a terrible story. Apparently, she was calling him the N-word.
Yeah, but also apparently he was trying to force her to have sex with someone in his entourage, and she was refusing.
No, I don't think he was trying to force her. He was the point, her being in the hotel room was on the pretext that she was going to be having sex with someone there. When it became clear that she wasn't, he kicked her out. Then she called him the N-word. Then he kicked her, which is all just to say that Kareem Hunt is not a good person, and it's an okay thing that he doesn't get to play football against the Patriots this week.
Yeah.
Whereas Josh Gordon is a cosmic ripoff that has implicates carcerality in this country in general. I think the Kareem Hunt situation involves too much toxic masculinity to be discounted offhand. Do you agree with that?
You think the Kareem Hunt situation? What? Say that again.
I think it just drips with too much toxic masculinity to be dismissed offhand as another example of the racist NFL.
Oh yeah, no,
down.
I think that's Kareem Hunt is a really bad face for the racist NFL's unfair treatment of their black players. I think Kareem Hunt is a better.
No, Colin Kaepernick is the face of
right.
that.
And Josh Gordon
is a better face.
Yeah, right. Kareem Hunt is in the face of how the NFL promotes toxic masculinity and violence against women and
how football in general from high school, college on up, this culture starts early and is really sort of only noticed when it gets to the professional level. But I think if you look at any college campus, I think if you look at the history of many famous NFL players and the baggage or the things that happened to these players while they're in college, like the Jameis Winston situation, for instance, right? He was able to skate and not get in trouble in college for behaving indefensively towards women. And I think it just sort of reflects the cultural ingrainedness of toxic masculinity within football.
Agreed. So,
all right. I mean, I do think that the Kansas City Chiefs are more disadvantaged by not having Kareem Hunt than we are by not having Josh Gordon.
Agreed.
But I think running backs, it's easier to plug in another running back as people keep showing. Than it is to find. I think
an outside wide receiver threat.
I think we're going to need big games. I think we're going to need more catch. Do you want to play? I think we did a good job last week of figuring out where the yards were going to come from. Do you want to try that game again?
It's just so hard this week because.
Well, you have I mean,
Yeah, but we can play this game. In order for the
how many total yards from the running back crew? From Rex Burkhead, Sony Michel, and James White from scrimmage
running in run plays
and receiving.
Oh, that's hard to say because James White is basically a wide receiver, and so I don't know. I saw something like crazy last week that when James White was on the field, 97% of the plays were passes, and when Sony Michel was on the field, like 85% of the plays were runs. Like it was just like I don't think that'll be the case this Sunday. I think
That's what I was saying about like how Belichick had all these ideas and then decided not to use them.
because we
right?
just started dominating the game from early on.
But do you remember the Falcons Super Bowl? Like I can remember 2 James White touchdown runs because we get it down low and we keep that personnel on the field, and the defense actually doesn't know how to line up against us.
Right,
Like James White scored the overtime touchdown and the tying touchdown on handoff.
He scored the tying 2-point conversion. The touchdown previous to that was I think it was Amendola, or it could have been Edelman, but it was a James White direct snap that got the 2-point conversion, and he
also a handoff.
Yeah.
You're actually wrong.
What?
The first 2-point conversion was a direct snap to James White. The second 2-point conversion was a screen to Amendola. Brother, here's what happened in the Super Bowl. Right?
Oh, you're right about that Amendola screen. I can picture it now. He kind of like barely crossed the threshold, but it was a fucking they were offsides anyway.
Yeah, Dwight Freeney was offsides anyway. But then that was following a James White touchdown run from the 2-yard line up the middle.
You could be right.
I am right.
Well, I'll just have to go back and watch some highlights, and it'll be my pleasure.
Yeah,
to do
enjoy
so.
that.
All right, so I'm thinking this. I'm thinking Sonny Michel has 115 yards running.
Again. He needs to.
And I'm thinking that Rex Burkhead adds another 25 to that, and I'm thinking that James White, for good measure, just to keep them honest, adds his own like 20 to 30 yards. So
I think we need 250 yards from scrimmage from our running backs. 250 yards.
That's crazy.
No, it's not.
Well, I don't
60 to 70 from Rex Burkhead in the passing game and running game. It has to be huge. We have to have huge games from our running backs. I mean, we got
James White
think about
having like
how many we've won AFC Championship games with our running back personnel getting that many yards before, like the Colts game.
No, I guess
right?
So maybe if you want to say that Sony Michel's going to have a 120-yard game, 120 yards rushing, and James White combined rushing and passing is going to have his own 110 yards
yard game. Yeah, then all you need is 30
from Rex Burkhead. I could. All right, I see that 250. But I don't see James White as having as big of a game as he had last week. I mean, that was one of the best. I mean, didn't he have
James White games ever? He had 15
most
catches.
that
It was
anyone's
crazy.
ever had in a playoff game.
Crazy.
But again, that was to take advantage of the soft cover 3 that they were getting. All like this is going to be a man coverage situation. It'll be different. I see Gronk having, 4 catches for 100 yards. I see Chris Hogan having 4 catches for 60 yards. Edelman probably 7 catches for 100 yards.
Okay, if that all happens, I think we can win. Cordell Patterson, a few good plays.
Yeah, right. Dorsett had not a bad game last week too.
He didn't. Whatever. Edelman and Gronk sprung him on that play.
But even if that we hit all those numbers, we still could lose by a large margin if our defense can't stop Patrick Mahomes.
Right. I mean, we could lose by a large margin if it's just a shootout.
If it's a shootout, those numbers won't be enough.
Right.
So it's going to have to be combined with a big game from Trey Flowers, a big game from Dante Hightower. They're going to have to figure out some way to stop Tyreek Hill, and I think I figured it out. It's J.C. Jackson with Devin McCourty or Duron Harmon behind. And then
they need to win the turnover battle.
Yeah. I mean, I think
if they can block a punt, I mean, if the Colts can, we can.
Yeah, sure.
But it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. It's awesome though. I mean, if we play as good as we played so good against the Chargers.
I know, that was incredible. That was not the Patriots. That's not what I expected to see from it.
We haven't seen that from the Patriots all year long.
We really haven't.
It was crazy.
That bodes extremely well. It's the Chargers were a really good team, and maybe the matchup was favorable to us to an extent, but also to another extent, we're clearly a phenomenal football team that is playing its best, knows how to play its best football at this, when it matters most, and is built not to have the most star power, but built to just like win the game in all the invisible like mini battles that happen and somehow pull it out. Or it's just like built to like put itself in position to win at the end of the game. Or I mean, maybe we'll blow them out. It could happen. I don't know. I'm excited for it, and I think we're gonna win, Max.
Yeah,
I'm predicting.
I mean, and then we could probably win the Super Bowl if we get to it.
I'm gonna throw out some numbers that just occurred to me now. 33-17, Patriots Chiefs. That's my prediction.
Wow, holding that explosive offense to 17 points would be a real achievement.
33-24.
I mean, Sam, what's so crazy about that game is if like I told you that in the second half of the game the Chargers were gonna outscore the Patriots 28-6.
Is that what happened?
That's what happened. In the second half of that game, we were outscored 28-6, and it never
close.
felt. It was never close.
That's insane. That's so fucking crazy.
I also just want to say before we move on that the Rodney Harrison factor of no one respects us seemed to register. I'm sure you saw Tom Brady's post-game interview in which he said, well, the thing is, everyone's been saying how much we suck and can't win any games.
Yeah.
And here we are. He really...
I just want to say I'm glad that they have found something to motivate them in the locker room to play their best football. From an outsider perspective, it does seem very bizarre for Tom Brady to be heading into his 8th straight AFC Championship game, giving a press conference being like, everyone says we suck. It's like people maybe are saying, yeah, people. I just don't know that we could possibly qualify for a nobody believes in us team, given that we've been to the Super Bowl 2 out of the last 3 years. We've won the Super Bowl 2 out of the last 4 years and have been to the Super Bowl 3 out of the last 4, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know that it's a good look necessarily for him to be out there being like, everyone thinks we suck.
Oh, the good looks in Tom Brady went out the window, I think, in 2007.
He's weird.
Since everyone sort of turned on him in 2007. But he's like really weird. But also he has managed to convince himself that nobody respects him and that like he is an underdog, and he's very upset about it still. And like, I do think you're wrong that anyone believed that the 11-5 Patriots, who limped in December to a 2-2 record, like people were like picking them to come out of the AFC. I don't think anyone did.
No, that's true. That's true.
I mean, Rodney Harrison himself was like, this team sucks now.
That's true.
But he was just probably trying to get a rise out of the Patriots.
Thank you, Rodney.
As usual.
As usual. So,
but I do think we should probably acknowledge that, like, Tom Brady's, I love him, but the way he behaves is, like, do you remember watching Phillip Rivers, the quarterback for the Chargers, just like have like a full-on meltdown for that entire game. He is like just red in the face, screaming at the referee, like cussing and saying mean things to everyone, and like having terrible looks on his face, and like he is like red in the face constantly, and he is just like demonstrative and carrying on like an asshole the entire game.
Yeah.
And you remember being like, damn, Philip Rivers is such an asshole. I mean, that thought occurred to me like throughout the game.
That Philip Rivers
Like
is an
they had to
asshole.
like the producers of the game had to continuously cut away from him because he was like on camera like berating one of his teammates or the referee.
Right, and there's such a like a forced narrative from them too, being like, such a good guy, Philip Rivers. I mean, he's him and his 12 kids. There's nothing he likes more than just raising his
Fiery,
his
so
12
fiery.
kids, and you're just like, meanwhile they cut to him and he's just red in the face, like flipping his shit, and I'm just like, good God, we need to get those kids away from him. Are they gonna be okay?
Yeah, I just think that
What kind of fucking monster
it's
has 12 kids nowadays? Is he a religious fanatic? What's the deal with that?
he's just rich. I don't know. But yeah, I would assume so. I mean, I assume that comes from like a religious place. It seems like it's I, I don't know. I wouldn't want 12 kids. I love having one brother. I would like to have like a few more, but not 11.
If you have fucking 12 kids, I'm sorry, you're a fucking
Also, he
monster.
only has 8, I think.
The fuck's the difference? I stand by what I said.
But what all I was trying to say is that Tom Brady is viewed by everyone else the same way that we viewed Philip Rivers, I think.
Yeah. True.
Anyway, a couple things, brother, before we go.
Yeah.
I watched this Bruins game the other night against the Canadiens.
Oh yeah. How'd we stack up against the best team in the league?
They're not the best team in the league.
Oh.
We're better than them. They're the most hated team in the league because they're the Canadiens. And
Most
I
hated
like
by you, but go ahead.
look, once again, I want to clarify my comments from the last podcast. Like, I just want to say that ultra nationalism is like way sexier when it's about the Bruins and the hatred of the Canadians than it is in any other circumstance. That's all I'm saying. But I was watching this hockey game, right? And we were playing the Canadians and we were losing the entire third period at home. We were losing to the team from Montreal in our own house. And like the entire third period, we were down by a goal, and we finally at the very end tie it up. It was awesome, you know? And then overtime starts, and then like it was literally the first thing that happened in overtime, right? The Canadians win the faceoff. They advance the puck into the Bruins zone. They take one shot. It goes in 15 seconds in after like working extremely hard for the entire third period to tie the game. We lose in overtime, which is, I guess, the nature of hockey, but also it's like pretty crazy. Anyway, I think you should get psyched about this Bruins team.
Okay, I will. I'm looking forward to it. I might wait a couple more weeks just to let the
Yeah, I'm just saying.
The Celtics look like absolute garbage. I don't know what to say about them. I think at this point, the best
No one knows what to say. People are like, is Al Horford hurt?
Al Horford looks so bad. I don't understand. Al Horford, that's like
he hasn't really played any good games this year.
He was so good in the playoffs last year, and I just don't understand how he has been to 3 straight Eastern Conference Finals, I think. And I get that he's older player, like, and he takes care of his body, but he's still like other people who entered the league around the same time as him are now like shells of their former self. And I get that aging is going to happen to Al Horford, but it just seems like weird that it happened so fast. All of a sudden, he was so good in the playoffs last year, like outplaying Joel Embiid.
Maybe he's hurt, Sam.
I don't know what's going on, but I know right now I think our team is better if fucking Tice is our center. And why isn't Robert Williams getting more minutes? I don't know. No one knows what to say about the Celtics. I think at this point, it seems like the best case scenario for the regular season is that we could somehow get the 3 seed. I think it's really
That
that's
is important.
that's really important, so we don't have to play the
Because-
Pacers in the first round
or the
or the 76ers.
because if you are the 4th or the 5th seed, your pathway to the playoffs is first round Pacers or
There are 5 good teams in the East. So if we're the 4th or 5th seed, that means that we're gonna have to play a good team in the first round of the playoffs, which
and the second, and then Milwaukee, and then Toronto.
and then we'll have to play. It's like we're gonna just have to play all the teams. But if we could somehow get to the if we go on another big run, it's possible that we could get to the 3 seed. But it's like bizarre that. I mean, if you had told me in the beginning of the season that at the halfway point we'd be sitting here saying if there's just some way we can put together a good stretch of basketball, we could maybe try and get the 3 seed, I would have been like, the season has fallen apart or there's been major injuries or something. And there really hasn't been major injuries. It's just like, it seems like it's like our team was so likable last year, and it seemed and now it seems everyone doesn't like each other, which makes me not like them. I'm like, are you fucking really fighting with each other? Like, get it together. I'm not going to fucking love you if you don't like each other. And
I think that's a great point, Sam.
yeah, I mean, who are our good
The
players?
Celtics feel like
we have one great player. Kyrie Irving is going to be like a second or at worst third team All NBA player, it seems. We have one great player. And then we have 2 fairly consistently good players, Jason Tatum and Marcus Morris. Weird that's the fucking those are our top 3 players. I did not think Marcus Morris would fucking be there, but he is. And then after that we have like
Marcus Smart, who is beyond reproach.
Marcus Smart, who is I love the most, but he's he's really good and really important. And there's a few other people who are like. Yeah, I would just I guess like he's probably just good and he should be in the category with Tatum and Morris. And then after that, it's like Hayward is good every 4 games. Jaylen Brown's good every 4 games. Al Horford's good every 4 games. Like Daniel Tice is good more often than that. Like, is he our fucking, I don't know. Terry Rozier is garbage.
Aaron Baines being hurt
sucks. Robert Williams is really exciting. I wish he'd play more. I mean, who the fuck else is there? Our team sucks.
It sucks. It doesn't seem like any of the good teams like playing us. On the other hand,
we'll see. We're playing Toronto tonight, and if we beat Toronto, we put together a good game and beat Toronto. It's just like I'm going to just continue to be confused by this team. If we lose to Toronto tonight, it'll be
a Bruins fan.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'll just be like, I understand we're not good, and I don't know why we're not good, but it's clear that we're not good. But if we beat Toronto and then we fucking like lose to some like bullshit like Charlotte team like the week it's just like I don't know. It's like this kind of sucks. It kind of sucks to be rooting for this team right now. They're not making it fun.
They're playing on the road next week down here, and I'm deciding whether or not I actually want to go.
I didn't go to this Nets game. I saw that Kyrie and Smart, mostly it was like Smart's not playing, so that really changes things. I mean, I wanted to go and see Tatum. I was doing something else. I didn't end up going, and I was fucking glad that I didn't. Even though it would have been nice to see Tatum drop 35.
Even though you thought you were going to get courtside seats and got the day off work.
Well, the other thing is I wasn't going to get my courtside seats. Friend of the pod, Rob Ackroyd, who was going to get me the courtside seats.
Friend of the pod, our first guest, who has access to incredible sports tickets based on his chosen profession of being a famous rock star.
Yeah, but he,
what a guy.
Because of that chosen profession, had to go to Australia to play to go on tour there. And so he was not around.
I would never do that.
Instead of sit courtside and watch Tatum drop 35 in a losing effort to the fucking Nets. Jesus Christ. I don't care about these other teams. I'm looking forward to a big AFC Championship game on Sunday, and I'm looking forward to talking to you afterwards and recording it for the benefit of all you people out there. This is Phone Wallet Keys, David Ortiz. Thank you for listening. Follow us on Twitter. Phone Wallet Keys, David Ortiz. Don't bother following us on Instagram. We're still locked out. No idea if that's ever going to change. Should we just make a new one?
I don't know.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add, Max?
Yeah, I want to add that you haven't been live tweeting any of your feelings about basketball, and I haven't been like.
Yes, so don't
like,
follow us on Twitter. Is that what you're saying? Don't even bother.
No, I mean, like, I've started to like. So, I was doing this thing when someone said something racist or incredibly stupid, that I would like quote tweet them, and then say what was wrong with the thing. But then I realized that only is for the benefit of like the 18 people who see our tweets.
Uh-huh.
So now I just reply to the tweet within the tweet, and then anyone who like decides to take it upon themselves to not only read the tweet but their responses to it see us. And like I'm not saying we've gotten any new followers per se, but it does seem to like that seems to be the most sensical way of operating on Twitter. So when you start tweeting, you should feel free to respond to other people.
Okay, you got it. I'll do that. And
thanks, Sam.
you're welcome. Max, I love you.
I love you too, Sam. Congratulations on getting promoted in Aikido. One step away from being a black belt. That's so cool.
Thank you very much.
And yeah, I will see you long after I talk to you next. So I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Love you too. Bye.